All right. Well, we thought we'd all get together. I'm gonna let Katie lead this. I'm so sorry my video has stopped working, and Katie said when it was on, it'll come on, but then it'll blink off, and then my audio goes off. So I apologize if the audio goes off too. Technology. My computer is very, very old. But we thought it'd be a good time just to get together and talk about fund drives and what's on your mind. What are y'all trying? What messaging, sustainers, challenges? So I'll let y'all start. Do y'all have any thoughts or questions?
Well, our pre-drive starts at the beginning of September. It's a 3-week pre-drive. Um, I think for me, I just did some post-drive analysis for our June fundraiser as well as our summer raffle, and our new members are down considerably. So I was wondering, I had a couple of questions. One was, of course, how do you attract new members? And then my other question, I was trying to think of some ways to attract new members. And I was wondering if anyone ha had like senior or student discount rates for their membership. I'm just trying to think of some new ways that we could get new members, and I just thought maybe that might be something that they'd be interested in. Hoping to get your thoughts on that.
Anybody
I
have any
can
thoughts?
just share that like we have a lot of um where our station is, it's near Burlington in Vermont, and there are many colleges and universities right in that cluster. And we haven't tried something like that. But we for many years because we weren't offering something that like we thought that like college age students would pay for. But one thing we've been considering is offering a college discount or student discount on our NPR Plus passport bundle, which I think would be the most intriguing to them, especially because Ken Burns is like all the rage right now. Um, so yeah, I mean, we haven't done it, but that's the angle we're looking at is with NPR Plus and Passport.
Yeah, we don't have NPR Plus. I'm not really sure the reasoning behind that, to be honest with you. But I thought of that. I thought if we had NPR Plus, we could offer that as a incentive. Um,
What's your station, Beth?
it's New Hampshire Public Radio.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Um,
mostly news, but we do have some music programs.
I know that stations through the years have tested like doing a new member day or new member Friday and then had some special offer for them. I'm not sure that the results ever were like, yes, we got all new members. You're all people are still going to call in. You know what I mean? You're still going to get people that have given for years. But that might be something just to build like one day it's new member day, but then also continue to talk to your current sustainers and donors that make additional gifts. Don't make them feel left out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing we've done here is like a retro day. It's like Throwback Thursday, and I was just wondering about like if you could tie that into new members somehow. If you're listening, you've never given, guess what? Today's Throwback Thursday, and what we do is we take our inventory that we've had in the past, and it's like a 2-for-1 deal. Like you can get the current t-shirt and a Throwback Thursday t-shirt. So it's just inventory that we have sitting there that we haven't used yet.
That's a great
It,
idea.
it, it could be from 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but and that's super popular. But a lot of times too, that's current donors. But you could say it's like you could use it to be an incentive to new donors too. And
Mm-hmm.
Julian, what are you saying? You have a starter pack?
Sometimes we do a starter pack where it's one of our older shirts from the vault and a magnet and a sticker for like the $60 entry, like $5 a month level. So it worked out really well. We did it 2 times. It helped us also empty out a lot of our old inventory, which is always fun. But yeah, it was nice. So they don't know what shirt they
Idea.
get.
Oh,
I like that idea.
And then Babby, you said you have a 45 senior member day. Did I just see that? Student and educator discount. Yeah. And they prove it with their email address domain. we have an educator's challenge from two people who have been in education for a long time, and like for like $5 a month on that, or no, pledges of any amount for like a period of 4 hours, you can get like an extra tote bag or something.
Okay, this gives me some ideas. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, we right now, like, we are seeing the most new members come from Passport and NPR Plus, largely Passport. It's rare that someone donates specifically for NPR Plus. It's usually like a perk that they find out about later and then want. Passport is the main driver. And we are one of the stations that raised our minimum for Passport in January, and it has gone fine. We've received very minimal blowback, and um, for stations that are joint licensees and have the Passport option, we used our wealth screening software to sort of reverse in like a reverse way, where we went through the folks who were already subscribed to Passport and $5 a month donors. And if they had a wealth screening score of a certain level or lower, we put a flag on their account that just granted them access at $5 for life, so that if there was like financial, like we were anticipating people being like, this is a financial burden, I can't afford to increase it, etc. Um, and then we do have people who, so it's like kind of an interesting way to like use wealth screening software in a way to like think about equity and stuff like that, which was kind of interesting. And
That's a
then
great idea.
we
Yeah.
also, and it was a small group of people. We did the math and we were like, okay, of these 200 people or whatever it is, increased by $3 a month, like how much is it over lifetime? Okay, we're not missing that much, but if we lose their donation entirely, we stand to lose a lot more. And then we also have a policy where, if someone like a senior or somebody contacts us and says, I'm on a fixed income, like I can't afford the new amount, but like I really love PBS, we just give it to them for $5 a month. Like, yeah, we try to insert some humanity where we can.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's
Love that
nice.
you're using the wealth screening for that, Val. That's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah, it was
idea.
like sort of it like blew people's mind. They're like, you can do that. I'm like, well, we have the data. Like, we don't have to use it just to see who has the most. We could use it to
Mhm.
see who, and it, obviously it's not a guarantee, but like, who statistically is the most likely to not be able to afford this. And we've used it for other stuff, too, like pipeline work and that kind of thing. But
And did
yeah,
you move up to $8 a month
yeah,
for that? Yeah.
yeah.
Abby, what were you saying?
I was gonna ask if anyone questioned, like, well, I'm sure that they probably don't realize that you're doing it based on a certain data, but I would wonder that if they do know, that they would be a little bit weirded out about the fact that we know so much about them. I don't know. What do you think? Has anyone brought that up with you?
No, yeah, we don't. I mean, we're not advertising the fact that we use wealth screening software either. It's not a secret. If someone asked, we would tell them. Um, and it's all like wealth screening software. It's all information that's publicly available anyway. So it's not like pulling people's bank account records and things like that.
And
I remember,
you haven't had any donor complaints or anything like that.
Nope.
Like, I mean, it's a great thing to do, but I feel like people can always react in unexpected ways. So I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think when people, it's not something we talk about with donors either. So I don't know if like the opportunity has come up for someone to be out by it. Like, it's not a
yeah,
secret.
it
Yeah.
would have to be a donor that increased to $8 a month saying to a donor that didn't, like, oh, they're making me pay $8 a month now. And if
Mhm.
and no donor is going to call Katie and be like, why are they paying $8 and I'm paying 5, or vice versa. I
Right.
wouldn't think so anyway. If you're in a high wealth screening, it is the perfect time to increase with this message of loss of funding too. So, I
Yeah.
think the $8 a month people would probably remember it. And Katie, and a coworker of mine, Ann Kendrick, were y'all, any of you at that? I think Holland was for sure, but the sustainer increase session, it's just now is the time to be asking for sustainer increases. I mean, people are getting the messages of we've lost federal funding, and I can tell you that we are still using it. We've used it full force for a full year, talked about the federal funding's gone. We're 100% community supported, and it's a strong message to pair with what's going on with the media landscape right now. Um, and just how in trouble really journalism is, responsible journalism is. So You could think about that too, how to use either Passport, NPR Plus Bundle, or even, a thank you gift, like have a sustainer increase day. We have an email we send out one day of the week that says, for if you'll update your credit card or increase in any amount, you'll get this thank you gift that's available, at a higher amount. And we usually choose the ones that are most popular, and that's our biggest increase day of the week of the fund drive. But and we also talked about like don't limit yourself to only saying $3 a month, $5 a month. Sometimes say maybe you'd like to, double your support as a sustainer, because we've been seeing that too.
Yeah, being on the phone, it's been interesting this last year because it used to be like, oh, I'll increase my donation from 15 to 20, and now it's like I'll increase my donation from 15 to 50.
Yeah, it's
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 just like so
really
much, like just way wider swings than
yeah.
the past.
I know a lot of you are in this situation, but we're hurting right now with like how many leadership circle donors we had. We had so many people increase to $100 a month, and we don't have a big enough staff to service them all. I'm trying to make the case to hire more people, but we have a cap with the university. They're not letting us hire more people. So it's just really been, it's been an amazing year, but also a year like where you realize, wow, we are under-resourced to take care of this as a
Yeah,
system and a station. So I wanted to bring up something that Katie talked about in a session that she did. And she talked about how she took all the comments from the last year, the last drive. We took all of ours from the last year and we put them in ChatGPT and said, can you come up with overarching fundraising messages? And it was um, really eye-opening and gave us such great messaging to start writing scripts for our fall drive. So if y'all have access to comments, like we have Google Forms, a lot of people will sign up to come to stuff, and then we took all of those and put them in. Um, and the overall strongest fundraising messages for us and probably for you: trusted information is essential, and WNC delivers it. A healthy democracy needs independent journalism. WNC is part of people's lives. It's not just a radio station. Public radio connects and strengthens communities, and listeners are stepping up because they believe this resource must endure. Um, but I mean, there were some direct quotes in here that I'm going to use when I'm doing my pitches in the fall drive. But I think it's just a great idea to see what people are thinking, and how to connect with them. We're getting so many comments about a healthy democracy needs independent journalism.
That's a great idea.
Hey,
and
what is
if you,
everybody thinking for messaging for your drive? Are you going to talk about federal support or yeah?
yeah, um, I put it in the chat, but there was that press forward toolkit for newsrooms
Yeah.
that had some stuff on like solutions journalism and just like being in a community where there's a reporter who's at the county board means that they're more accountable to their taxpayers, that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have some messaging about that sort of thing and then try pull examples from some reporting we've done in the past.
Yeah,
I do
that's a good
try to tie stuff back to local, so like Colorado River water stuff and wildfires big in Colorado, so we'll have some reporting and spots around that.
Yeah, I think local, like I don't know how y'all feel about this, but for us, we always try to talk about local in our local news coverage, but still a lot of the focus from listeners was like, I don't know what I'd do without NPR. But what I've found in the last year is that people are more concerned about local, which is great for us, also considering that NPR is also doing a lot of fundraising in everybody's markets. I saw the other day that they're starting to do events. They had an event with Mary Louise Kelly. I heard it on the NPR app. So
Will you be using the federal funding message and the fact that you're 100% community funded during every single pledge break, or is it more like once per hour, twice per hour, or something like that?
for the scripts that I've written so far, it's like a line in a page script kind of thing. Like, it's not the focus, it's not the like close or anything like that. It's just now is the time to give, we need to fill the hole from the loss of federal funding, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But it is going to be mentioned in some fashion, probably in every break.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we will probably mention it in every break. So we have unscripted, scripted light breaks, whatever you want to call it, where we have pitch menus that people pull from. So it's not like we're writing out everything people say. And we usually have a key theme or an overarching theme with like a few key points, and they pick a point per break. And one of those points will be about that we're in year 2 without federal funding. Last year we were able to, half close that gap for good with new sustainer revenue. Thank you so much if you became a new sustaining member or increased your gift. We've got another million to go. And like that's not the goal for the drive, but that's how we've been talking about it. That like it is unlikely that federal funding will come back in the near future, if at all. And so, but we're really careful about not like saying it never will, because we don't know. We can't predict the future and we want to be factual. So like Holland said, I think for us, it will be a line that we use or like a thing we come back to and not the center of pitching. I was just pulling up our case for support because I haven't started writing scripts yet for fall messaging in general. And one of the things we're really leaning on, so we have news and classical. And on news, we're going to lean really hard into what I call like rah-rah First Amendment. Basically, the theme I've been working under is that access to trusted information isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And so, it's a lot of like, the First Amendment is a key to a healthy democracy, and a free press is healthy or is key to the First Amendment, that sort of stuff. Yeah, we'll see how it turns into scripts and things that people actually say on air, but that's what we're leaning into right now. And I think on classical, they will probably still talk about the First Amendment just in a different way, like access to the arts and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're much like Katie in that we have bullet points and cards you can choose to look at and make them your own, but not everything's scripted. But we'll probably talk about it every break. Some people lean on it heavier than others. It's just based on their personality, and how they pitch. Um, but I do think what Katie was saying about First Amendment democracy, I think also bringing up some of the news stories that are like just this week, ABC is suing the FCC because they feel like they're being, basically persecuted, and they are. But I think saying what's the media landscape is changing so much. I've heard stations say, when billionaires own the newspapers and decisions are being made on cost cutting or and it's really resonating. We're doing lunches every Friday with major donors. This was one of the ways we're trying to manage the influx, and they come in and watch our local show, and then we sit down and have lunch, and we'll have anywhere from like 10 to 15 people at a time. And they are worried about local. They are worried about the media landscape. They're worried about responsible journalism. AI is coming up a lot. One of our pitches that we use that I talk about a lot is like we have an AI ethics policy committee here to make sure that everything is sourced and correct, and you're never going to get information from AI, because there's been some horrible examples right now of how there's a local, they're out of Atlanta, but they're big here, and they took a news story that was completely AI generated. The sources were AI, the reporter was AI, and they just didn't fact check it. And it was, and then it came out that they, put a AI generated story on their website. So, but it's really coming up. And I don't know if y'all are getting this, but we have so many donors that are like, can y'all help other stations? Like if you have a good fundraiser, can you give your money away to some of the other stations that, might not be doing well? They're just so kind. Which of course, is illegal. You can't do that. But we do talk to them about how we share content with everybody at North Carolina and the Bridge Fund, which is helping stations that, 25% of their money with CPB. They're replacing it for, I think, 2 or 3 years. So got a couple more people joining us. Y'all have anything on your mind? Any questions? Andrea is from Public Radio East. Rachel, where are you from?
Sorry, WFDD.
Oh, WFTD. That's what I was thinking. I was like, that sounds like a North Carolina person too.
It is. I was late to the meeting, so sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
I'm curious if other folks know what they're using for messaging. Like, is it more of the same, sort of like the same themes of like, you know, democracy, free press, First Amendment, federal funding, all of that stuff, or are you leaning into something else?
Still doing a lot of the community stuff too. Community, yeah, that's also came up.
Yeah, we try to like kind of like just like lead in briefly like with like the rescission and like oh it's been a year and it happened but like focus on like local issues like this is a necessity like you're funding these stories that have happened and that like matter and like you're what is it? Like finding language that like increases their feelings of like ownership and stuff. Like you're funding this thing that like you really need. But yeah, I feel like if anything, we try to keep it more local than anything and try to keep it light and not dig too deeply into like the rescission or anything.
We're doing a little kind of in between that. So in addition to the loss of funding, we're also working to do a better job of some of our strategic planning and moving forward. So the year before the federal funding happened, one of our primary antennas broke. So we have four antennas. We have four antennas, four towers, and our primary antenna broke the year before. So we had to do like emergency funding to get that replaced, and then federal funding lost. And now, so we're kind of like, hey, this is a strategic time for us so that we're making sure that these types of things don't happen because of federal funding, because of the, it's kind of on the heels of that and saying, so we're looking to plan for the future. And so we've been here for 42 years. We want to continue this. So it's all of that foundation, but kind of couched in that bigger future goal as well.
Yeah, we do talk about the future a lot too. Like, you came through last year like never before, and now the future, is up to you. What's going to happen the next year and the next after. There's a lot of discussions going on with major donors about that too.
I have a small different question about something that you were all discussing earlier about when your fall drive is happening. And I know there's a few joint stations here. PBS Reno, which is my station, is a television only, and we kind of follow PBS National's schedule. So our quote unquote fall drive happened now in August. So we decided to call it August because it's late summer, really. It doesn't really feel like we can fluff it up with fallen leaves and, autumn colors yet. So I was wondering if anyone else also does an August drive with their national counterpart and then does their own local fall drive because I heard some people doing it in October. So how does that timing work for you guys?
Where are you, Babby? What station?
Reno, PBS Reno in Nevada.
Okay. Sometimes I think it kind of depends on your market too. But September, like August, we do a soft drive in August and then we come back in October. But September has just not been a good month. There's so much going on here where we are in the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill area in September. So sometimes I think it's market specific, but
So yours is a little more flexible. You kind of change. You have the liberty to change every year.
we always set the dates and say these are our tentative dates subject to change. Like, we had set the October dates and our news team, much like was discussed here, said, we really think with this election year, it might be better if we went earlier. We also are subject, as the people in North Carolina know, to a lot of hurricanes, a lot of weather events here. And so we've had to completely switch on a dime, like And so we cannot, when Hurricane Helene hit Asheville, we were like, we cannot be asking people for money right now, even though that wasn't our direct market. So many of the people here were concerned and giving money, to the Asheville area for support. So I think we went really late that year. So what do other people think?
Colin, do you want to go?
Unless you have federal funding cuts, I think summer fundraising kind of stinks. Like I think it's the time to do digital stuff, sustainer increases. We're big pushing Bank of Will month this month, but it's tough. And it was the same way when I was in Minnesota too. It's like you're fighting nice weather and people's travel plans and switch ups to their commute times, which is big for us drive time. But
It's less listening, when
yeah,
you think about it.
that being said, on our AAA station, it does okay, but not so
Oh,
much on NPR.
Colin, you were on a joint one in Minnesota though, right?
No, I was in way northern Minnesota, so we were just PBS.
Okay, so you were TV and you were not aligning with the national schedule?
We were aligning with the national schedule. Um, oh boy, you're making me think back. Uh, so I think we did October and like a little bit in August, but
Good.
we August always did poorly for us.
this is going to blow
Yeah,
your mind. This is going to blow your mind, but Katie is not doing a PBS
so
fundraiser.
I was gonna say you're blowing my cover here, Regina. So we historically August has always been the worst drive for us on TV. But we actually just made the decision at Vermont Public to not do TV pledge at all anymore.
Wow.
Which was a big decision. There are other stations that have also done this. We're not the first one. But
Hmm.
I mean, TV pledge for us is costs more than it earns at this point. And if we did the ROI on radio pledge, that's probably not great either. But we're talking like we made less than $40,000 last year in TV pledge altogether. And so it's just like not
Is
worth
that
it.
because of the cost of the premiums, the thank you gifts?
It's the cost of the premiums are really high, especially for national premiums. The staff time spent to get all that entered in to like pull it from ACD and then put it into our CRM and then all the schedules and all that. There's the production time that goes into it. It's just so different than a radio drive, in terms of like the production and the premiums and all of that. And honestly, a lot of it was transactional giving. So then like retaining those people is so much harder. That we decided to, and I won't say we're not ever pledging on TV ever again. What we are not doing are the national pledge weeks. We might run one or two programs if we think they're going to be a hit. Like this time we selected, I think it was two national programs. We ran one of them twice and one of them once during the drive. And it raised almost as much as our entire August pledge did last year when we like blew out the
Wow.
schedule and had multiple live nights. We will pledge live on Giving Tuesday on TV and radio because it's our biggest fundraising day all year. It's when we have our big partnership with the food bank. But yeah, we're not doing TV pledge drives anymore. Which was it's a big change. And it doesn't, and I'm just careful to tell people it doesn't mean we're not fundraising on TV anymore. We will still have fundraising spots. We will go live when it's like really appropriate and strategic, but we're just not blowing out the schedule and doing big drive weeks anymore.
And you said other stations have done that too successfully. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, there are some bigger ones that have done it. I'm pretty sure KQED is one of them, but don't quote me on that, especially because this is going up on YouTube.
I know 13, I think 13. When I visited them, they also told me that they're not doing it anymore. And from my visit last Thanksgiving, they were also moving to a more remote office scenario. So it also wouldn't make sense to like rent a studio just for the pledge drives that are not necessarily performing, like you
Yeah.
said. So I see that shift happening in other places. And luckily, our station also always surprises us because that's still one of the biggest means that brings revenues in. Um, and we have considered changing the dates from national. Like I put in the comments, we definitely overkill in the summer to echo Holland's feeling. People are out. We're kind of lucky in a very twisted play of words that there was a wildfire and so people were inside indoors. But I wish we hadn't, and I hope that the climate crisis goes away so that people can be out in the summer. But that probably would take a hit in our driving strategy, you know. But just wanted to check then people's decision when it happened to do as a fall, because this watercolor is called Fall Drive, right? So I wanted to see how many of you have been doing it in the fall and seeing it pay off more in the fall as people come back home from vacation and school starts and all that.
I think traditionally fall drives, I mean, and for us it's October, but we've gone as late as November because we've had to move because of some either major news event or major weather event, as I said, and they're always our strongest drives of the year. And I think that's true for most stations. I don't think I've ever met a station that said summer was a great time to fundraise. The irony with losing that funding is we decided really late to go to fundraise around the rescission. I mean, it was like 2 days before they made the decision. I said, I think we need to do a fund drive, and I did that because we tried to do a summer drive one time and it was horrible. And I said, I know we won't raise, even if we raise 200,000, wouldn't that be better than anything? And then we raised 1.3 million in 3 days. So that's just unheard of. Um, I mean, I know some stations tried to fundraise again in the this summer, but I haven't heard of any that, went gangbusters like they did last summer. Did y'all? Did anybody hear anything about that or no?
I mean, we have our summer raffle, and last year was just absolutely phenomenal. Um, but this year obviously wasn't as good as last year, but we had our second best summer raffle in July ever.
So we do messaging, sustainer testimonials, and on-air reads from host, and then on-air taped reads from our talent the month of August, and we do a drawing during it. It's a trip of your choice. And so far, we're tracking ahead of where we were in 2024. We didn't look at last year because last year we only did like a week because we had such a big July drive. But I was encouraged by that because I am hearing, and they're tracking in like CDP tracks it and everybody else that everybody's experiencing low new members now. I don't know how many of you went to the conference or you've seen the presentation Greater Public's presented, but basically they said, that was a huge catalyst to get new people to give. And it's the biggest surge we've ever seen in more donors, new donors and lapsed donors in public media, which makes sense when you think about it. They got worried. You don't know what you got until it's gone.
Is anyone else doing a tiny desk giveaway with NPR? We a while back I think it was the Scoop somewhere. Maybe it was from Collaborative Philanthropy Council. I can't remember where it came from. NPR sent out a thing for applications to do a tiny desk giveaway, and we're doing that in September. So it'll overlap with our drive, and it's like the prize we're giving away during drive. And I'm excited to see how that goes, especially with younger audiences on social media, places like that, because I know that's how a lot of younger folks know NPR is your tiny desk. But it's pretty cool, actually. They're gonna fly, like NPR pays to fly two people out. They get to pick which tiny desk concert they go to, which I think is awesome. Originally they were requiring we send a station rep with them, and now they're not, because I'm kind of bummed because I was like, oh, maybe I could have gone to a cool tiny desk show. But yeah, it's a cool opportunity, and I think I'm excited to see how it does, because we're going to kind of push it everywhere since we've never done it before and see where it performs the best and what group it performs the best with.
I totally missed that. What is the application period? Are they going to do it every year or
It
is it
already closed,
okay?
but I don't know how many people they had interested. So I would reach out to Carolyn because she's who I've been working with.
Yeah.
So is like your station giving away one of those, and there's like a couple other stations in the country that are also doing it?
Yeah.
And then is NPR paying for just the like letting them into Tiny Desk? And are you guys fronting like costs for airfare and that
No,
kind of
NPR is
stuff?
paying for all of that. So they're paying for airfare for 2 people and hotel for 2 nights. And they'll give them a private tour of NPR and they get to go to a Tiny Desk concert.
Is it one donor per station?
Yes.
One winner per station? Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to do that was one of our drawings. I was good friends with Carl Castle, and he worked at WNC years ago. He's from North Carolina, and we did fly to NPR and go on a tour with Carl Castle, and he would meet our donors and walk them around. It was so popular.
I
But
bet, especially
they don't do
with Carl
tours.
Castle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's like NPR royalty.
my claim to fame is he surprised me and came to my wedding in Louisiana. So you see
God.
on my video, you see me I'm walking back after I've said yes, and I have my bouquet, and I stop when I see Carl, and I'm like, Carl, you're here.
Wow.
And I looked at my husband and went, Carl's here, and he went, I know, Regina. I knew he was coming. It was a surprise. But he was the sweetest man on earth. But Yeah, I don't think they do tours. I don't think they do like let you bring people now just for a tour. So that's cool. They're doing the NPR Tiny Desk giveaway. Well, anybody else got anything on your mind?
Yeah, I was curious. Katie, you were talking about the NPR Plus passport thing. It's something that we've had like a lot of discussions about, like as far as like the bundle threshold, but then also like how do you deal with like people who are like grandfathered in and stuff? Were you talking about that? Like
We raised the minimum for everybody.
just like across the board. Okay. And
Yep.
how much
Yep.
communications did you put out? Like,
I would have to go back to my notes because we wrote up a whole communication plan. So we timed it with we called it like a rebrand of the bundle because we used to market them pretty separately because Passport was $5 a month and NPR Plus was $8 a month. So for us, it actually made it easier to like have everything be the same level. And we're hoping in the next calendar year, this is like a side, but to roll out ad-free streams of our own podcast. So we can add that to like the whole Vermont Public bundle. And yeah, so it started with in January, we had 2 things running simultaneously. We had like a forward front facing campaign aimed at new people on TV and radio, email, all that kind of stuff, aimed at getting people to sign up for the bundle. And it was like really heavy on like values-based messaging. So it was when a lot of people were canceling their streaming subscription. And it was kind of cheeky, like, hey, we hear you're looking for a new streaming service. Like, come check us out. Though PBS doesn't love it when you call it a streaming service, but that's what it is. So we had that running at the same time. That's when we sent out our annual tax letters, right? And so, or emails, whatever. And we used that as an opportunity to let people know. So current sustainers, we said you have until December 31st. We gave that, those are the only people that got access for the whole year at that rate. And said you have until December 31st to either increase your gift. If you don't by December 31st, then you'll lose access on January 1st, 2027. And then the rest of people have gotten it in their renewals. We did an initial push via email that said, hey, the minimum is going up. If you increase now, then you don't have to worry about it and you won't lose access. And that's sort of how we've messaged it the whole time is, our minimum is going up. We haven't increased it since we introduced Passport many years ago. We don't anticipate it increasing again in the near future, all of that sort of speak. But in those people's renewals every month, they're told, and there's actually, we looked at the subset of people that were $5 a month sustainers and were actively accessing Passport regularly. And it was actually a really small subset of people. And so I would recommend if you're going to make that switch to look at how many people you're actually talking about, because it might be a smaller group than you think that will be impacted by this. And so we really centered our communications around those folks specifically, because the people donating 8 and above, like it doesn't really, apply to them. Hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, we included it in tax letters. It's in their renewals every month. Sustainers starting in October will start getting emails about it that donate at the level. So we're gonna like monthly send them a reminder, like, hey, in 2 months you're gonna lose access if you don't update. Hey, in 3 months, 1 month, blah blah blah. I'm anticipating in January there will be a whole bunch of sustainers that are like, how come I can't log into Passport? And we'll have to remind them what we told them.
You set a year-long campaign.
Mhm.
Is that okay? Okay, cool. That makes sense. And but yeah, you're saying like an $8 threshold across the board for Passport and NPR Plus together.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because $8 a month is the NPR. Like NPR has set the minimum for that at $8 a month. And there are some stations that do it a little higher, I think. But yeah, I mean, if you have PBS, you know that PBS made the recommendation that people increase. Like the new recommended minimum is $8 a month, but the actual minimum is still 5. So it's like every station gets to do what they want. But I mean, we were concerned about blowback from it, and it's been largely fine. There's been a handful of donors that have been upset, or they've seen a commercial on TV for $8 a month, and they're like, well, how was I notified? That kind of stuff. And we just tell them to check their email. It's usually in their spam.
Very nice. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Do you think you could like email me some of that?
Yes, absolutely. Will you put your email in the chat and I'll just make a note to do it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I love about Katie is that she's so strategic. Katie's so strategic in everything she does. Like,
Regina, you got to stop. I feel like every single one of these calls, you're just talking me up. So thank you.
You're so smart.
Anything that you've done that counters what Regina's saying, and I haven't known you very long.
Poor poor Andrea. She's like, aren't you the only development person at Public Radio East? And are
Yep.
you full-time now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you are
No,
full-time.
I was hired as the fundraising coordinator, and they reclassified me to the development director. So that
Okay.
was helpful.
Yay.
And then I just got our admin assistant. Our previous admin assistant left in April, and we just hired somebody new, and I reclassified that position to finance and development associate. So then she's actually going to help me. I mean, the person did before, but now it's explicit that that's part of her job. So now I have like a half-time person supporting development. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's great. There have been stations that have, I can't remember which one. Somebody at the conference was like, we went ahead and got approval to hire 3 mid-level people right away, and it's already paying off for them, just having people call people and thank them, and more gifts are coming in. All right. Bye, Julian. Thank you for coming.
So I put it in the chat and got some responses. Do other folks do themes for their fund drive, or or not necessarily like a title, a fund drive, a theme that's a title.
I think we've done internal themes. We've done internal themes mostly because I've only really worked at WFDD when the rescission was looming, or and it's hard to mesh some of the themes with, hey, we need money, hey, we need money, hey, we need money. So there's this kind of internal thing that we might structure things around, but it's not something we're saying out loud.
What kind of themes are you thinking of? Like,
And I feel like last year I heard a bunch of people talking about they had like a theme for their fundraising year. And so I created one last year. It was like the treasured sound of your community. And then so we kind of used that, and I made a little like logo banner thing that I used. And I'm like, this is a lot of work, and I don't know that it makes any difference. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. So I was trying to get other people's input.
I think it makes a difference if you use thank you gifts to have kind of maybe new styles and everything and new ideas every year. I don't really, I've never been a fan of themes, but I will tell you it's because I've had stations call me and say, what do you think? Like there was this one station that was like, we did a summer drive and we called it, what was it? We called it Reach Patrol instead of Beach Patrol. They were on the coast. And they were like, and nobody's calling in, and we're giving away beach balls. And I was like, you're calling it Reach Patrol? And they were like, yeah, outreach. And she was like, do you have any suggestions? I was like, maybe stop talking about that and just talk about giving. Because it was like 4 o'clock when she called me and she was in a panic. She said, we've only had one phone call. I said, one phone call this hour? And she was like, no, today. I was like, yeah, maybe stop. So I don't know. Sometimes I think we get lost in the themes, and if people don't understand it or really resonate, because if you think about how many times people tune in a day and how long are they listening, um, I guess I would say our theme is always just like, you love WNC, please support it. You count on it.
I have
But
a,
it is,
Andrea, oh, sorry.
go for
go ahead.
it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that we don't really have a theme, but we kind of have like a tagline. Um, and we use the tagline as like a email header, Outlook signature, yeah, social media. Like for fall of last year, we had you make it possible, we make it public, and then our logo. Um, but we didn't use that theme like on the air all the time. We may have had it in a sentence or two in some of our pitch cards. Um, so mostly a tagline as opposed to a theme.
I have a related question, but then also want to share some of the stuff I'm doing just because I haven't gotten an answer. I posted this question in in the Slack group chat too, but I was wondering if you guys have other ways to make your communications, whether it's a newsletter or mass emails, whatever you guys do, more interactive and like kind of water down a little bit the ask, because I feel like we're asking every month. So since September for me is not an asking month, I was trying to like put a little more fluff in my newsletter. I ended up no one responded to me, so I ended up, I don't know. Okay, this is going on YouTube, so I don't know if this is okay to do. I think so because we have an asset that is available for us through PBS. But I took a Bob Ross painting and I put it on Canva and I hid 7 pea pod squirrels and I made a spot the squirrel game for our members in the newsletter.
That's cute.
So I don't know, trying to entertain them in a way that is not transactional, because I also heard a great idea before that you could try to pair your newsletter with local vendors, and like your newsletter has a coupon every month for different vendors. And I like that idea too, but it keeps us on the transactional side. So I was trying to keep us in the entertaining side and do something different when that arrives in their inbox that is not like related to finance at all, and just gets them looking forward to receive that newsletter and not avoid it every time. I don't know. But I wonder if you guys ever tried anything like that, if you do anything more less on the ask side of things for your communications.
Yeah, just to like chime in, I do a weekly newsletter for us. We call it the News Wrap. And we've been refining it for like a year now. And we have an underwriter do a banner at the top. So not a coupon. But yeah, it's focused on like all of our local stories. We put a fun fact in it. We partner with local like animal agencies here and we advertise like the pets of the week to get adopted, and then events from our community calendar. And we get so much positive reception. Sometimes we also have a banner in there that's like, let us know like what you think, like what are your thoughts on anything you want to share with us. And people just will like tell us like, oh, we just love getting this. We love having this like quick wrap up of like stuff that's going on that's just like made more accessible. So I think the pets like people really love, and like one like fun light thing that's just been like from our experience.
We we have a couple stations or bureaus around the state, but our main station, like where I work out of, is called the Fort because it's part of this area called Fort Ethan Allen. And we have a section in our member newsletter that we send out every month that has a From the Fort section. And it's usually like some insider, like one time we posted about cake, like public radio cake week, and people absolutely loved it. We posted about, we had a lot of wildlife. So we'll post like pictures of the baby turtles or the bobcat when it was here and like that kind of stuff. Or just like silly pictures from people being humans around the station, and people love it. Like they're like, more of this, please. We did start selling sponsorship in our member newsletter because usually it's been like a totally ask-free space with no like exchange for money ever. The exception being if we're in a drive, we will tell people like, hey, if you heard we're in drive, now's a great time to increase your gift or become a sustainer. But that sponsorship spot has been pretty well received by people. But the stipulation is that because it's the member newsletter, it needs to have some sort of offer for the members. So we just did one with a theater here that did buy one, get one free tickets. Another place did like X amount off of your awning at the beginning of the summer, that kind of stuff. And it's been well received. It's an opportunity to make additional underwriting revenue or sponsorship revenue, but also not have the, because my main concern was like, I don't want the members to feel like we're selling them out to the highest bidder, you know? That's typically like an ad-free space. But it's been well received, especially because of the offer.
Does that mean for both you, Katie and Liz, do you guys have kind of free reign on what you put in the newsletter, or now, especially for you, Katie, that you're working with sponsorship, do you have to involve community partnership, community support, however you guys call it in your station?
No, we have a variety of different newsletters here, and some are content driven and owned by the content team because they're like journalistic pieces. But the membership newsletter is our baby. Membership owns it. We manage it. We decide what goes in it. And we're always playing around with the different sections. My colleague, Sarah Matthews, who's on the PRADO Slack, so if you ever want to talk to her, just reach out to her, is sort of the genius behind it. And it was designed to be like a less formal, more human kind of touch with those folks. But yeah, we have total autonomy.
I love the pictures of these animals that FDD's posting.
That was I wish I could get them past our leadership. It is a concept I think would maybe resonate. It's just it's one of those things like we're all doing the same thing. If anybody ever wants to steal that concept, take it. I don't think that's ever gonna see the light of day here.
A few people have done animal themes, different. I'm sure there'll be a Jimothy one in Washington.
Well, remember the NPR Minnesota Public Radio? They had the raccoon that climbed their skyscraper in St.
Yeah.
Paul. So they always have raccoon
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I borrowed the idea at PMDMC in Philadelphia. New Hampshire Public Radio had an owl wearing headphones as on a tote bag as one of their swag swap items. And I shamelessly stole the idea from them, but tried to localize it with native animals and foliage to some degree. But those were just concept images. I would absolutely say get a real artist to do them. But I think it's a thing that has legs and would probably appeal to the humor of most listeners.
It has legs.
4 of them to be exact.
All right. Well, it's 1 o'clock now. I don't think we get kicked out at 1 o'clock, but does anybody have any last question or anything to add before we head out?
Did you guys hear about the 2 radio antenna that got married?
What?
The
No.
reception was amazing.
But shh. I might use that for an email subject line.
That might be coming be live in a pitch break in
Yep.
the fall.
I only heard the punchline. What was the joke? What was the
two antenna got married. The reception
antenna?
was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Actually, I always beg to do jokes like on air. And the one that I was allowed to do once was we put it on our socials. I was like, how many public media staff members does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just one, and we can't do it without your support.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Can I
I'm gonna
ask?
start writing these down. I pitch during Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, so I need jokes. I need fun time things.
Could I ask a quick question before y'all leave? I didn't realize this was EST. I'm CST, so I completely
Oh.
sorry. That's
Oh
why I
no.
jumped in so late. But like, were there any like things that y'all ended up kind of talking about that felt like good takeaways from this conversation?
Are you KMFA? Is that a joint licensee or are you community licensee
And
or
we're an independent classical station.
classical station?
Um,
Um, there was a lot of talk about messaging and really talking about the you still talk about you've lost federal funding, still talk about the First Amendment. Katie said she does it on her classical station as well, works it in. Still talk about sustainer increases. We talked a little bit about like new member offers, but just know that you're probably still going to get people call in that want the offer and or make additional gifts on a new member day or a new member offer. Does anybody else have anything? This is recorded too, so we can send it,
Oh,
you know,
awesome. Okay.
we'll
Okay,
post
I'll
it so
watch
you'll
the
get it.
recording then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have we usually put it on YouTube and then we'll post the link to Slack if you're in the Slack channel.
Hmm.
Probably by Monday, depending on when I get the links and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Sorry, and again, sorry for missing it.
Don't
Well,
be sorry. It's totally fine.
yeah, I put
Join us next
ET. I
time.
should have spelled out Eastern Standard Time. We'll make sure to do that next time. But all right, well, thank y'all so much
Okay,
for this
bye,
great
y'all. Thank
discussion. Good
you.
luck on your fall fundraising.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.